Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Yes, that's it. Hello,
Good day,
everyone. I hope
good brunch,
Evening,
brunch.
brunch,
good
breakfast.
Hey, we're
breakfast. Good
live.
breakfast,
Hey,
everyone.
Yeah.
great.
Good breakfast. Common
Hi.
greeting.
Hello. Welcome to this great end of year. Is it the end of the year already? I can't even, I can't. I'm not ready
Can't
for this,
even.
guys.
I can't
Yeah.
even.
Can't even. Welcome, everyone. So, this is, of course, going to be a very chaotic, chaotic end of year bonanza, but that's fine. That's what we do. Today, I have with me two very familiar faces, Zach Hinkle, yeah, and David Ruiz.
Hello.
Welcome to our end of
Hi.
year
Hey, folks.
bonanza.
What's up?
Um,
What's up?
Zachary Hinkle, would you like to talk to us about your Christmas jumper?
I would love to. Yeah, I don't listen. This is a big surprise. This is a big reveal. Everybody, brace yourselves. I'm Spider-Man.
Yay!
It's not. It's
We
not
knew
Peter
it.
Parker.
We
It's
knew it
not
all
Miles
along.
Morales.
Da,
Yeah,
da, da.
we knew this.
So yeah, today I have my Lord of the Rings
Come
jumper on.
on, let's go.
One
Let's
does
go.
not simply.
Walk into Mordor,
Mm-mm.
because I
Oh.
am a
Mm-mm.
massive Lord of the Rings nerd. Anyway, welcome. Let's talk about what happened and what didn't happen in cybersecurity this year. How are we doing? How are we feeling about this?
Feeling good? Feeling strong?
Feeling good.
About cybersecurity in general? I don't know. I feel the same way every single year. But how do we feel about this moment? I feel pretty good.
How do we feel about our data privacy rights in the
Uh, yeah,
yeah.
we don't know.
Never great. Never
And
great.
let's talk about something that everyone's talking about. Wait, let's talk about the giveaway first, because we have a
Okay.
giveaway. So we have three 1 year licenses for Malwarebytes Plus, which is Malwarebytes Plus VPN for three, not one, two, but three devices. If you have an amazing cybersecurity tip that you want to share, just pop them into the comments now here live on YouTube, or later when you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube, or I was going to say wherever you get your podcast, but that's not, we're not in that. That is David's thing. So let's dive right into it. AI, like let's go to like the big guys. AI, like what were the biggest stories about AI this year? Zach, in your opinion.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
AI, I mean that's gonna be like everybody's recap for the year 2025, right? Is like AI.
Yeah.
And
I mean
why?
where do you even start with AI, right? I think from a privacy and security standpoint, you have Microsoft integrating AI into literally everything. If you want an operating system that doesn't have AI tools, Windows 95 is that way, according, as far as Microsoft is concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I guess you stay on Windows 10 forever and just don't get
Hmm.
security updates if you don't want AI. Because if you're on Windows 11, AI is integrated into everything. Copilot is in everything. And yes, you can go into your registry, you can edit things, you can turn that off. You can turn that off with Malwarebytes even. We turn
Yeah.
off Copilot, but in Word, in all of your other applications,
Hmm.
AI is in everything, which poses security concerns. If you're
Hmm.
working on data that you don't need outside of your, local environment, sorry about it. So that's probably where I start. But gosh, there are so many AI stories this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, we also saw, I think, the big rise of the AI browser.
Yeah.
Perplexity released a browser called Comet. OpenAI released a browser. ChatGPT, like the maker of ChatGPT, they released Atlas, I believe it's called, which I
Hmm.
have not actually tried out. I've tried out Comet. Dia from the company, the browser company of New York. That's the name of the
Oh.
company. They put out one called Dia, and it has an integration of ChatGPT in it, but they have their own kind of like their own kind of wrapper and their own kind of like tools and parameters.
Mm.
Dia, for its credit, is an absolutely beautiful like piece of UI. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I really did enjoy the the visuality of it. I like
Mm.
that. But on all of these, I did like I don't think they're good at what they do. That's my very brief like. That's my very brief like. Here's what I learned about AI in the past year, right? We learned that we're stuffing it into increasingly more tools, and we actually spoke about AI on the Lock and Code podcast quite a few times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was enough that I started to think, is this an AI podcast? And I don't necessarily want that, but AI
Mm.
wants that of me, and so I have to push back. But we saw all sorts of problems as well with, people who were falling too deep into the hole, I would say, of like AI relationships. We saw
Yeah.
people marrying the AIs. We did see an individual marry a version of ChatGPT, which he called a soul. And then there was this news story that came out. Hey, this guy is marrying ChatGPT. He asked it to marry it. It said yes. Why they wouldn't say no? And then the kicker, he has a long-term partner with the child who he is with. They have a kid together.
Wow.
And that felt like a real kicker. We should see teens get too involved, I
Yeah.
think, too integrated with these tools. We did see very tragic stories. We saw tragic stories of
Hmm.
suicide. We saw that happening
Yeah.
through these tools. And we also saw just on the work side, right? We learned that folks are receiving what is called AI work slop. They're receiving work that is generated by AI and they are being asked to fine tune it or correct it or
Hmm.
refine it. And it's creating even more work. And so, to Zach's credit here and to his point, we just saw it everywhere. We saw it every
Yeah.
single place. I think there's different takeaways from that of, do folks find it useful? Do they not find it useful? Have we created a tool that we need to find a use for? That's not that unusual, by the way. I don't think it's worth like saying like the whole project is completely like bunk because, we haven't found the use for it. That is kind of how things work. Like we create something and we're like, oh, how else would it work? Where else can we put it in? How do we plug it into stuff? But the wrapper here is that there was nowhere you could look if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were being alive without AI interacting with you in some way, often in ways that you did not agree to.
Literally, like what you're saying is like you can't escape it. Like I was in Frankfurt Airport last week to go to Tallinn, and like I saw the worst, like Christmas. I was going to say Weihnachten. Sorry, I'm in German. Christmas ads over there, like, and like we're talking about Christmas, something that needs to be like kind of personal, warm,
Yeah.
and then you get this super weird Santa stuffed in your face. And
Hmm.
we've seen it with McDonald's, and
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
totally out of this world. Sorry, Dutch. I'm Dutch. Dutch ad, which like
Yeah.
when we're talking about Christmas and like in the past when it came to marketing, we always had to like emote to what are people thinking, what are people
Hmm.
feeling, what does Christmas mean to them, and then
Hmm.
McDonald's just comes in with this like soulless dead ad and like thank God they got burned for it because unbelievable. What did you think of this fantastic ad, Zach?
Isn't this what Christmas is all about? Like
Yeah.
dehumanizing each other and, being, you know, fed slop by robots? Yeah, man, it's very like, we're all gonna have to be Blade Runners now. We gotta figure
Yeah.
out what's real and what's AI, and uh, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and AI is one of those tools, right? Like I don't want to sound like one of those people who's just like AI is bad, right? Because there are
Mm.
plenty of uses
Yeah.
for any tool, right? Like they all have very practical applications, and I'm
Mm.
sure most people watching here are like, I use AI to help me
Yeah.
write emails better,
Yeah.
and that's rad, and I love that. But I think like any tool, it's going to take us humans, it's going to take us a very long time to figure out like what do we do with this? What
Yeah.
is it good for? What is it not good for? It turns out maybe don't use AI to make a Christmas ad. Maybe.
Yeah.
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 No.
Uh,
I think
it's wild.
it's also important that a lot of folks might hear this and think like, oh, these, like you said, Zach, oh, these folks just hate AI. They hate anything that's
Hmm.
produced by it. And yeah, I want to be clear here too that like, no, it's not that. Like, again, I always talk about how artificial intelligence, machine learning is
Hmm.
being used in medicine to solve extraordinarily complex problems.
Unbelievable.
I always cite
Totally.
this thing that we're learning how proteins fold,
Hmm.
which helps us understand like genetic predispositions to disease, which is
Hmm.
astounding. It's a problem that is that requires so much compute, and we now have that compute, and we now
Yeah.
have simulations that can be run, and that's astounding. Like we love that stuff. I think that stuff is so beneficial and cool. It's just that when we see these kinds of things like that ad, the best way I can compare it is, sometimes like you go home and your parents have a TV, and that TV has like that weird super smoothing option on, like
Oh,
whatever you're
yes.
Mm.
watching. That's just what it feels like to me.
Wow.
And there are people out there who say like, "What are you talking about? That's the way TV has
Hmm.
looked since I've been born." And it's like, nope, no, it hasn't. No, it just hasn't. We can stop pretending. The quality is not good when it's not good. Like it's not just necessarily like, hey, it's AI, therefore it is bad and I
Hmm.
hate it. It's just like, hey, we can both look at this thing quite objectively and we be like, wow, that looks kind of like crap. Okay, can we be honest about it?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel when I see some of these ads, when I see some of these people on Twitter saying like, look at all the cool things I did, and all it is like them like meeting fake celebrities, and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
TV smoothing. This is TV. You're telling me that you like smoothing, and nobody likes that. What are you talking about?
I find it a great analogy because it drives me nuts. Like I
Mhm.
can't watch my parents' TV without just I don't know. It makes me a little bit nauseated, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
Everything looks like a soap opera.
it's
exactly. Right.
so weird. Like
So weird.
I don't get it. But yeah, so AI was
Somebody,
the
somebody,
sorry, go on.
somebody right now is like, I love super smoothing. I
Yes.
hit the X
Yeah,
now.
100%. Yeah.
End this live stream.
Like, what are you talking
End it. But yeah, AI was the talk of the town. Like,
about?
like for us, like we're content creators, and like one of the things that drives me nuts is that a lot of the stuff on my timelines is just AI generated. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
very bad writing. It doesn't
Yeah.
have a soul. This is why, yeah, I mean, a little bit of promo for us. This is why we pride ourselves in Malwarebytes that we have actual humans writing our stuff. Or do we? Are
We
we
do.
actual
We
human?
do. We do.
Are we actual
We do.
And we've
humans?
seen, from a security and privacy standpoint, right? Like we have seen time and time again, companies training their AI platform on
Yeah,
your data
Yes.
with you having to opt out rather than opt in.
yeah,
Yeah.
We've seen AI. There was a story fairly recently, within the last month, of somebody that used one of the AI tools, and it deleted his D drive and
Yeah.
was like, "Whoops, yeah, I didn't
yeah,
you didn't tell me to do that, but I sure did that, didn't I?"
Yeah.
Like the amount of data, the personal information that you
yeah.
um, have to give to these AI tools, from a
Hmm.
data
Hmm.
and security standpoint, it's challenging,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
I am also, I think you're right to bring it home here. I am not a fan in any way whatsoever of a tool alleging that its usefulness to me is knowing more about me. I do
Yeah.
not want that. I do not like that. I find no value whatsoever in a piece of software knowing about my address or my name or my interests or, my relationships. This is
Hmm.
the, I think, entire economy that we've been trying to fight back against for so long,
Yeah.
where every single trick, every single click we make is tracked, every search we make is tracked. At times that we connect to certain Bluetooth beacons in physical stores with our device, the device ID is tracked and it is compiled in a large database. And all of that is used to target us with ads. And that's the kind of very stuff that, again, I think we try so
Yeah.
hard to warn people about, to say, hey, just know that this is happening. I know there are individuals out there who say that they like targeted ads. I will never agree with that. And also,
Hmm.
this this next wave of, hey, the usefulness comes from the privacy invasion. I can never agree with that. I do not think a
Hmm.
product is useful because it invades your privacy. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to use that type of thing. So yeah, there's a real tangible privacy fault happening here. And I wish more people thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great segue to our next part because I think, yes, we can talk about AI for days and we will continue this conversation, but like, I mean, I don't think we can talk about it for the whole
Yeah,
end of year bonanza because people would just go like, oh, let these people just
please
talk about
release us.
something else. So what I wanted to talk about is like we're talking about, like the kind of more serious stories that we heard this year. We've had a few data breaches. We were talking about Roblox before. I think one of the things that we talked a lot about this year is like, how to keep our kids safe
Yeah.
and Roblox is one of the stories that, especially at the start of the year, like was a major one, and I think we're still talking about it. How we have platforms, and it's not only Roblox. Like we're also talking about the other social media platforms, for instance, that claim that your kids are safe on the internet, and they're not. They're actually not. And then one of the things, like our good friend Zach posted something about age verification the other day, and I think he's still seeing all the notifications in his sleep coming through because yeah, that was a wild one. Do you want to talk a little bit about that roller coaster, like very important, but a roller coaster of opinions and shouting, basically.
Yeah, I think I would approach that from like, things that we see in privacy and security as a
Mhm.
security company, right? Things that we see today in what's left of 2025, and the things that we can anticipate that we're going to see more of, right?
Yeah,
And digital ID has been a huge topic, right? We've
yeah,
been we've been talking about digital ID. We talked about it last year. I think when we did
hmm,
this exact
yeah, yeah,
show
yeah,
last year, we talked
Yeah.
about digital ID, right? And here we are talking about digital ID. More countries are rolling this out.
yeah,
More governments are requiring it, asking for it, whatever term you want to use. And so here we are, right? There are websites like we saw Discord.
hmm,
They did suffer a data breach. Discord requires you to, identify yourself to be of certain ages. Various websites you can go to
hmm,
out in the world, wherever you go. You fill in the blank, but some of
hmm,
those websites also like they want to they are required to make sure that you are of legal age to be able to consume that type of content.
yeah,
So we put the impetus on these companies to sort of track that, manage that, authenticate you, make sure you're good to go. And these companies maybe aren't necessarily the best people to have that information,
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
hmm,
and be custodians of your data, right?
hmm,
And so we will continue to see. I'm sure we will be right back here next year. We're going to talk about
yeah,
digital ID. We're going to talk
Yep.
about and listen, like these companies, like sometimes it's not the company itself. Sometimes there's some sort of a supply chain issue, or there's some
yeah,
like a vendor that they use has a security vulnerability that somebody exploits to get into a system, right? Like these
Yeah.
things kind of happen. I hate to say that, but like these things happen.
hmm,
Um, but as more and more companies are collecting your data and knowing more information about you, it makes it very difficult for you as an individual to sort of um, decide who gets your data and who doesn't.
Yeah.
yeah,
And to add on that, right, as we were talking about, we saw a lot of concern, and I think extremely valid concern about what kids are interacting with online,
hmm,
and we do know that there are platforms where they can find things more easily than we would like. And that's a very
yeah,
valid concern. Again, I want to just repeat that. There's real worry about our kids talking to strangers that they shouldn't be talking to, our kids being lured by strangers, who have found a very safe place on certain platforms to just essentially talk to kids, which is terrible, right? And there's also another part of it, which is let's shut down as much of the broader internet for adults because of this fear of children. And I do think that's what we see with these concerns about we're going to
hmm,
put age restrictions on adult content, pretty much porn, right? We're
hmm,
going to start saying that everyone should not be able to see things. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
It's thematic, folks. The sweater is here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to say that we're going to start tracking who people are online, and just inherently, right? Any system that tracks data is less private than a system that does not track data.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. And so Zach was talking here, sometimes it's not maybe the website itself that's collecting this data. Often, right, the legislation is written in a way that it doesn't require that. It doesn't say, hey, Pornhub is going to collect your ID, but it does
Mm-hmm.
say websites that are like Pornhub have to verify. And look, there's only one way to verify age right now, or there's multiple ways to verify age
Mm-hmm.
right now. All of them require having data that didn't exist before, or collecting data from disparate streams that they weren't collected from before. And it could be from a third party, it could be from an established app, it could be from the website itself, it could be a short point of transfer, then that data gets deleted. All of those are systems that we didn't have before, and all of those are systems that, again, track and measure data that was not tracked or measured before, and
Yeah.
that is inherently less private. And if there is a data breach, which there have been,
Mm-hmm.
your data, your ID might be attached to like your porn viewing habits. And
Yeah.
that's like, please no. Please no, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't want that
Mm-hmm.
internet. That's
No,
a dreadful place.
that shouldn't be a thing for anyone, I guess. And I think this is such an interesting topic because, like, especially when you're talking about the kids part, I had a chat with one of our colleagues before, and she was saying as well, like, how we warn our kids about like the dangers that are outside and
Mhm.
the stranger danger, and we've done that for years, but actually the actual danger is when they're sitting on the couch or they're
Mhm.
sitting behind their laptop or their tablet, and that's where it is. And you know, we, here at Malwarebytes as well, we always have this balance of like making sure people understand the actual issue, they understand the severity of what we're talking about, and making sure we're not fear mongering.
Yeah.
Um, how do you like how this is not something we talked about before, but how do you kind of tread that balance? How do you balance that when you're talking about these types of issues? For instance, in your podcast, David.
Yeah, yeah. I think what a great question, by the way. I think so much of it is hearing people where they're at, right? You do
Yeah.
have to hear where people's concerns are coming from. And
Hmm.
again, if a parent comes to us and says, I'm worried that my kid is going on Roblox, or they're going on Discord, or they're
Hmm.
going on Facebook, any platform, and that they are engaging with adults who have ulterior motives, that's a very valid, real concern.
Yeah.
I'm worried also that my kid, even on their YouTube Kids account, is seeing content that I don't think is appropriate for them,
Hmm.
sexual content. For a while, this
Hmm.
problem, from my understanding, has been solved, but for a while, YouTube Kids had very
Yeah.
bizarre content,
Hmm.
bizarre pseudo-sexual content with individuals who are dressed up as like Disney characters. It's some
Hmm.
of the most like I don't even know how to explain it. It's insane stuff. And that was happening. And that's something that I think as a parent, you'd come home and you'd be like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
watching? We cannot have this. That makes perfect sense. I think that's right. Where we also start to push back, though, is when we see that the solution to targeted problems are broad, really broad brushstrokes of
Yeah.
things that I think are just going to affect the internet at large. And we also push back when we see that these broad brushstrokes are things that have been actually happening for a long time, let's say. So the idea to try and make the internet less private, that is not new. That is
Yeah.
actually kind of long-term old. And so what we see is, okay, here are these projects that a bunch of bureaucrats and a bunch of politicians have not been able to pass for a while, and they've just wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
And then they say, hey, wait a minute. We're at a point in time where people are really, really, really afraid of kids online. Why don't we use this moment in time as our sort of like catalyst, our sort of spark to push what we've always
Yeah.
wanted? And what they've
Hmm.
always wanted are things like an anti-sex agenda in general, an
Hmm.
anti-porn agenda, an anti anything expressing yourself agenda that is
Yeah.
beyond, this like norm of what we consider acceptable.
Hmm.
They want us to be afraid to question our own identities online.
Hmm.
There's things where kids, in the same way that I think kids need safety from dangerous predators online, I think kids also need safety to ask questions about themselves. When
Absolutely.
you're 13, 14, 15, 16, you do not know 100% which way you lean, what you're doing, your political associations, your
Mm,
sexuality, your interests. We do need to create those safe spaces and keep those safe spaces for questioning. I always talk about how privacy is so good because it gives us the privacy is necessary to let us be wrong without being judged.
mm,
And we just need to be wrong about some stuff. We need to try some stuff out for ourselves and be like, I guess I'm not that,
yeah.
And this action here of clamping down, of making sure everyone's age verified, of making sure every
Hmm.
website tracks everything you do, we are removing those options to be wrong privately for ourselves and to find out who we are through experimentation. And yeah, so we have to push back on that while also understanding there are valid
Hmm.
concerns on this side.
That's really beautifully said, actually, David. That is brilliant. And what do you think of that yourself, Zach? I think David
I don't.
encompassed
Listen,
almost everything. Yeah.
there's nothing I can add to that. I think David nailed that. Yeah.
This is why David is our privacy advocate. He knows his, I was going to say a bad word, but he knows his stuff. Um, I kind of want to move a little bit into like kind of
Yeah.
like a little bit of a lighter, like
Hmm.
a little bit of a refresher, a little bit of a palate cleanser. What? Because if we're 2025 at the end of 2025, what are the coolest, weirdest stories that we may have forgotten about, maybe from the beginning of the year, or just stuff that came through and people seem to have forgotten about?
You've asked us to be optimistic or to be good, and that's very difficult for this team. Just what good happened? Hmm.
What funny thing happened? Like, for instance, we always talk about password hygiene. Like,
Yeah,
and then you have the Louvre with their Louvre. I don't even,
absolutely.
sorry, excuse me to all excuse my French. If I pronounce the Louvre the wrong way, I'm really
That was
sorry.
perfect. That has to be perfect. I have
Yeah.
no qualifications, might I add, but I was like, that sounds right.
It has an R and an E. It must
Yeah.
be.
But as you're saying there, Tjitske, right, we learned that the Louvre was like their security systems were compromised, and we learned that, or no, sorry, the Louvre itself was breached.
Yeah.
They stole a painting, they stole jewels.
Yeah.
And when trying to find out, okay, like let's look at the video footage, they found out that the security system's password for the Louvre was Louvre. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing you're like not supposed to do. That's the what like don't my email password is not David, you know?
Oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
cross that out.
you're right. A great kind of moment in like, don't do that. Please
No.
don't. You got to get better cybersecurity than that. But at the same time,
Yeah.
if the Louvre is looking for a cybersecurity partner, we do sell those services.
It's a really funny moment, right? It's such an equalizer because we of all of us, right? Like everybody, people in the security industry, people who use security products, like all of us go on a journey, right? And at one
Mm,
point in time, our password, we use the same password for everything, and our
Yep.
password was, whatever it was that we created to make an eBay account in
Yeah.
1998 or whatever, right? And like we use that password for everything for however long
with
until we
different
became a little bit more
numbers.
secure. Exactly. Yeah, right. Until we became a little bit more security aware, we saw maybe like you get involved in a data breach, and then you realize like, oh no, now that password is out there. That's my password to my banking. That's my password to my World of Warcraft account. That's my
Yeah.
password to whatever. And then you sort of you go on the security journey. You learn a little bit more about best practices, and for everybody to take that path, it's really funny because then there is this great equalizer of like even at that level, there are still
Exactly.
places where humans do very human things, like the password is password, the password
Yep.
is lube, um, and it's a moment we can kind of from afar sort of like laugh about, right? But like, great opportunity for everybody watching this. Use complex passwords, use a password
Yes.
manager.
Yeah.
Try really, really hard not to reuse passwords. Like it's
Yes.
best if you don't.
Don't do it.
Definitely. Exactly. Like, don't share your passwords. Don't you know, write passwords on a sticky note and put it on your monitor. Try not to make your password live. Don't do that.
That's it. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I did that years ago, right? Years and years ago, because like I used to have sticky notes and
Hmm.
then
For sure.
sticky notes for everything, all my passwords, and my manager, Fred, if you're listening, I'm really sorry. Um, at some point, he said to me, "You can't do this. You don't do this." And then suddenly we had a new cleaning lady, and
Mm,
she got rid of all the sticky
Oh,
notes.
wow.
that
Yeah.
happens.
And that was me. And my friend was like, "I told you so." But what you're saying is it can happen to anyone. Like one of the
I know.
stories of the year for me, I think, was Troy Hunt, one of the biggest names in cybersecurity and threat hunting,
Mm-hmm.
um, fell, because we don't want to victim shame, for a
Yeah.
phishing email and owned up to it and taught everyone about it. What did you think about that? I thought it was like the way he handled it was just chef's kiss.
Totally. We love you,
Absolutely.
Troy. Troy, I know you're
We love you,
watching. We
Troy.
love
You
you.
are
Thank
watching.
you.
Yeah, we wrote up about it,
Mm,
and the level of disclosure and the
hmm.
quickness of disclosure was really not something we see in this industry. So again,
No.
for
Yeah.
folks who don't know, Troy Hunt, he runs Have I Been Pwned? This enormous database of where you can check whether or not your website has been involved in a data
Mm,
breach. And he's been doing this for a long time. And, as the person who is like, I know about passwords, I know about data breaches, I know what tricks are used to yourself fall for a phishing email, I think
hmm.
there's a lot of emotions that you could have if you're in that position of authority. And one of those emotions you could have is embarrassment and probably trying to hide
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
And he did the complete opposite. He absolutely published what was going on. He had timestamps for when the email came in, timestamps for when he realized it
Yeah.
was a phishing email. He showed his responses. He was getting something, I believe, from MailChimp, was believed to be from MailChimp. It was a phishing email. Then
Hmm.
he reached out to MailChimp, and he went through a lot of work of trying to find out who has been affected in my database, my newsletter
Yeah.
database. Um,
Mm.
what is Mailchimp doing, if anything? Like, how do they
Hmm.
respond, right? And what can we do to make this right? And all of that, again, I think it came out like within 4 to 6 hours of him
Yeah.
getting phished. He published a rather long piece and he just kept updating, updating, updating it. Again, it is very rare to see anyone own up to this kind of stuff and just really, really do an autopsy so quickly.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
deeply appreciate that. Like, that's so, so important because, again, it can happen to anyone. I understand that you're going to feel embarrassed or you're going to feel shame if this happens to you.
Hmm.
It's impossible to not feel that way, but you should know that you don't have to feel that way because it gets the best of the best of the best. It just truly does.
Yeah.
And if you are the kind of person who's using Louvre as the password for Louvre, definitely stop doing that. That's something where we can go like, maybe there is a little bit of fault. But if you're
Yeah.
falling
We
for a
can help.
very, very tactical phishing email,
Yeah.
look, these people are also experts at what they do. Do not feel bad. If everybody falls for something, this is what we say. There is a scam for every single person. You just haven't encountered it yet.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally. And I think one of the really great things about cybersecurity is like, it really is a community. Like,
Yeah.
the people that you meet in cybersecurity, if you're on Reddit, if you're in different forums, if
Yep.
you're, consuming this kind of content with us, thank you, by the way, for
Yeah.
consuming this content
Thank
from
you.
us. But it really is a community, and we all learn from each other. We learn. We have colleagues at other companies. We learn from them. They learn
Yeah.
from us. We learn from our friends. We learn from each other. And for home users, maybe you're the IT person for a lot of people. Maybe you're the, security tech person for your friends or your family. And they learn from you. And so, um, somebody like Troy Hunt being able to showcase like, hey, here's what happened to me, here's
Hmm.
what I learned. That's something that we all can kind of put in our minds for future generations, for people that we encounter, and we can share that knowledge. And it's really it's awesome when you have people that say like, hey, here's what happened, let's all learn together. I think that's great.
I think it is. And like with anything in cybersecurity, like and with scams in general, is like, you know. attackers and cyber criminals, they expect that level of shame, right? And that's why they're doing it. And so because they want you to not talk about these things.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about these things, and we need to be honest about it's even when it's very difficult. We're always here. Like, if you don't want to write to a cybersecurity person, just share with friends or family or whatever. Like, because indeed, this is a community, and I think that is, you know, that's also where we were founded on, right? We are a community. I wanted to talk about like 100,000 other things, but very quickly, like, what's your prediction for 2026? Is it a good one? Is it a good one? Or
Here's here's my prediction for 2026. I'm gonna choose the path of optimism on this one, right?
yes, thank you.
Data breaches, they keep happening. We see more and
Hmm.
more every single year. They get worse and worse and worse and more frequent, and more damaging to the people that they impact.
Hmm.
2026, I'm putting it, write it down.
I
2026 is going to be
am.
the year. Common sentiment is like, well, look, my data's already out there. Who cares? They can have all my data. 2026 is the year that people start caring
Yeah,
more about data breaches and about what information that they have out there. I believe I'm bringing it into existence. I believe in it. It's going to happen.
manifesting.
People are going. I'm manifesting it. Absolutely. People are. When I say people, I mean your everyday users, your neighbors, the accountant at the place you work. Like, people are going to start caring about data breaches.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's a
That's
really good
good.
one.
I have a prediction that is a little bad, but a little good. And I do think that it's the same, right? I am hoping that 2026 is the year that we also get quite serious about scam prevention and
Yeah,
protection. And by that, I mean that I just learned, right, in the past month, how enormous pig butchering scams really are.
yeah,
We did a podcast where we spoke with someone who has actually helped pig butchering victims before. Pig butchering is an investment scam, right, where someone is leading you on to an investment. It's a fake website. It says your money's growing. The whole time you're actually just giving money to a scammer, but you
yeah,
log on to this website and it says, hey, your money's going up, 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 up. And they just keep doing that and they keep taking more and more and more of your money until you realize the website's fake. Everything's fake. The whole thing's fake except your money, which has been going to a scammer. I learned
hmm,
that this is actually like organized crime. This isn't a couple
yeah,
of people here and there across the world who are scamming, a couple of people here and there across the world. According to the FBI, like 16, I think it's $16 billion. Sorry,
wow,
6 billion, whatever it is. It's too much, right? It's in
yeah,
the billions. Right. I think we're going to start learning that this is actually more than just a couple of rogue
hmm,
folks, a couple of cyber criminals, and we're going to see that this is actually going to be very close to nation state behavior. I
yeah,
think once we realize that this is not, again, oh, so and so lost some money, and we have this disgusting response sometimes where we say, oh, it's their fault.
hmm,
It's never their fault, right? I want to be very clear. It's
no,
never a scam
yeah,
victim's fault that they've been victimized, that they've been scammed. But I think once we see that this might actually be an issue of national security, once we see it might actually be an issue of nation states growing a very soft power against other nation states
hmm,
simply by robbing their citizens, I think hopefully we might come together and take this thing seriously, put the resources we need behind it, because I'm not exaggerating here. There are compounds. There are compounds that are
yeah,
literally built from the dirt to make these things, to employ people, but really to force them into labor to run these scams all across the
hmm,
country and all across the globe. And once you learn that, okay, it's not like a dude in his basement, once you learn that the scale is actually highly organized, highly concentrated, I do start thinking of it as similar to ransomware gangs, which
yeah,
our governments have shown that they respond to. In the past like 6 to 7 years, we learned that ransomware, again, is not a dude in a basement. It is organized crime
hmm,
networks which are operating in countries that turn a blind eye to it because they just do, like they do. They're doing kind of their dirty work. If we start seeing scams the same way, particularly pig butchering, I'm hoping that we can get actual like coordination between international governments to really protect us, like our people. That's what I'm hopeful for.
so we're ending on like a hopeful note. I love it. Thank you so much to both of you. What I want to say to everyone who's watching, thank you. Sign up for our newsletter is number one. Sign up for the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Really listen to the last podcast David did about pig butchering because it is wild. It
Blew my
is
mind.
wild.
I did it. I made it, and it blew my mind.
It is insane. Also, sign up for any social media platform. We have great content coming out thanks to this guy here. Oh, I can't even. Thank you so much to the both of you. Our giveaway is running up until next week. If you want to win Malwarebytes Plus a license key for a year for 3 devices, give us and the community your best cybersecurity advice, and we will pick somebody out next week and we'll get in contact with you. For everyone who's watching, thank you so much. Have an amazing holiday. I was going to say year. Have an amazing holiday year. I hope your year is going to be like a holiday. I hope
Like a whole
everything's super
holiday.
easy and super fantastic. And we will see you next year. Thank you to Zach and to David. And thank you so much for watching, everyone.
Thank you, folks.
Have a great
Great
day.
one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.